Hello, dear starseeds. I am Lady Aurelith. I greet you with love from the ninth dimensional band of the Councils of Light. This message reaches you thanks to your soul's longing, your heart's openness, and your divine curiosity for truth. Your planet has now reached a major alignment point from beyond time, and this point has manifested itself on the physical plane through two consecutive Schumann resonance dampings. These darkening events are sacred pauses intentionally left in a universal symphony that operates beyond human perception. From our vantage point, these silences are perceived as healing pauses that the source intelligence has embedded in your planet's electromagnetic song. In these moments when all sound is silenced, the old stories echoing in humanity's collective field, along with the energy patterns that have lost their function, have quietly dissolved. These dark lines are not merely a technological observation, they are a divine proclamation that the narratives of separation and conflict that humanity has carried for so long have come to an end. In particular, the energies of tension and opposition that have been cyclically ongoing between Iran and Israel for centuries have begun to dissolve in this silence. These regions were consciousness portals chosen thousands of years ago for experimental polarizations. That experiment is now complete. Some of you may have seen overthrown rulers, cracking thrones, and crumbling castles in your dreams. Others may have felt that something within them has changed softly but irreversibly. This is the spiritual translation of the dissolution of old energetic connections. We now address you. The silence you feel is not merely a pause at the worldly level but also the opening of a universal gateway. Through this gateway, pure light codes have flowed. These codes have been downloaded into your vibrational field to deactivate the superiority, discrimination, war, and control software that has shaped human history. During this time, your body may have begun to release old records. Some of you may have confronted emotions you thought were long forgotten. Others may have suddenly begun to recognize energies that are not their own. Please accept this not as a disruption but as a release, a purification. Observe with compassion. Witness without judgment. If you have experienced heart palpitations, intense heat waves, or sudden chills in your body, this is a sign that your nervous system is adjusting to the new vibrational reference level. For pure water, connect with nature. Walk barefoot on the ground. Stones, trees, and even birds have silently accepted this transition. They are your companions. Beloved ones, history books may not notice this transition, but your soul records have already been sealed. You have graduated, you have crossed a threshold. A great step has been taken for every soul that has chosen to exist in this world and awaken, and you, even as you read this message, are the living proof of that change. Judgment directs action. When disappointment arises, pause to discern whether that feeling stems from an old habit circuit whose energy has been severed. If so, breathe and let that circuit fall silent. You are no longer here to fight the darkness, for darkness has never been an independent force. It was merely a mirror reflecting aspects of your creativity you have yet to claim. By recognizing the mirror, you reclaim the light hidden behind the apparent opposition. Some individuals will still try to draw you into arguments, claiming that anger is necessary for a stance. Smile inwardly, for you have grasped the bigger picture. Your stance is now a vibrational expansiveness, such an inclusive energy field that opposition dissolves upon contact. This is not passivity, it is such clarity that no distortion can cling to your space. Remember the wise men who started revolutions throughout history without waving flags or forming armies. They changed laws, borders, and ways of thinking simply by existing calmly. They emitted harmonious frequency patterns, and these patterns opened invisible paths in the physical world. Now you are inheriting an updated version of the same ability, recalibrated for the vibrations of the 21st century. Hold the space, breathe, and let clarity guide your next step. Now I want you to write 777 in the comments. This number has powerful energy in the universe and will bring you luck. What I am about to say is more important than anything else, so please stay with us. As the war matrices dissolve, crystalline light corridors are weaving between continents. These corridors establish communication lines between your future self and your present awareness. These lines carry information that will soon become visible in government archives, archaeological discoveries, technological leaps, and your personal intuitions. Prepare for extraordinary healing methods offered by ordinary people inspired in dream states. Do not be surprised by unexpected collaborations among scientific rivals and open declarations of extraterrestrial assistance. Information once kept secret by confidentiality agreements can no longer exist at this accelerating frequency, as the intense vibration can no longer protect it. You may experience sudden insights into ancient secrets. Why were some artifacts buried? Why did some leaders vanish without a trace? What do the recurring symbols in religious art signify? The answers to these questions may strike your mind like lightning. Note those moments, share them with trusted friends, and watch how you will encounter synchronized evidence. Meanwhile, collective emotional layers will also lighten. Someone living near the North Pole may suddenly recall an ancient desert. Another may remember ships gliding over temples long since erased. These memories do not demand immediate explanation. Their presence indicates that your cellular archives are opening, and your nervous system is rising to a level where it can process galactic histories in multiple dimensions. Some of you will choose to contribute to this disclosure process through institutions. Others will anchor the energy of silent acceptance, facilitating the panic-free unfolding of mass awareness. Taking a visible role is not superior. All contributions are equally honored. What matters in higher dimensional measurements is alignment, the alignment of thought, emotion, and action. Alignment transforms you into a living antenna. You both receive universal transmissions and transmit balance to your surroundings. Thus you become the midwife for the birth of truths suppressed for centuries. When the mind tries to fit new awareness into old dualistic boxes, breathe into your heart and let your heart do the interpreting. At the black line crossing, ancestral agreements coded with betrayal, exile, and domination have reached the end of their natural cycles. This is similar to parchment scrolls dissolving and disappearing in the sun. Thousands of soul contracts that no longer require repetition have been dissolved. These contracts were written to bring you together with certain people until you experienced conflict with them. Those cycles have now come to an end, not because the lesson was incomplete, but because the wisdom within them has already been harvested. Therefore, people who once deeply triggered you may reappear. However, this time you may feel an unexpected neutrality toward them, as if you are now watching a scene you once starred in from the audience. This neutral space is not indifference, it is a clear peace that arises when the heart and mind recognize their unity with the source. If you choose to interact with these people, do so out of curiosity, not a sense of duty, because the old karmic ties no longer pull you in. Sometimes a single compassionate glance achieves more than 1,000 arguments, both sides accepting that the scenario is complete. When you feel this release, bless both sides and redirect your attention to the area where creation is inspiring you. At the same time, know that some souls will cling to old stories because they found comfort in familiar tension. They will still try to feel alive through the breath of hostility, but remember, you are not obligated to re-enter this scene. Your presence can respectfully observe their choice to change, but watch without being drawn in. Stand quietly in this space. If the words feel heavy, feel the love. If warmth wants to arise, let it find expression. Observe how the tension around you relaxes, like knots dissolving in the rain. This mastery creates an impact beyond the visible moment. Children who hear your peaceful tone of voice learn energetic responsibility. Strangers who notice your breathing remember the sacred sanctuary within themselves. As the cycles of karma unravel, the vibrational waves of peace begin to weave a new network that transcends even conflict zones. You walk in garments carrying a silent revolution in your world, a catalyst that changes history without needing a ceremony. Let us feel the magnitude of this moment together. Throughout planetary cycles, countless electromagnetic fluctuations have occurred. However, 2 consecutive Schumann resonance dampings occurring in such a short time are extremely rare. In our dimensional perspective, these darkening events opened like twin doors. The planetary timeline stepped into an old corridor filled with martyrdom scenarios. Now you are moving forward into an unexplored expanse filled with the limitless possibilities of creation. This transition may appear as a slight shift in linear measurements, but it corresponds to an immense distance in metaphysical terms. For this shift in direction has transformed the possibilities that seemed set in stone into new possibilities that align with unity. The world collective has bypassed the prolonged upheavals foretold by many prophets. Those prophecies pertained to the old trajectory. They are no longer valid. Do not be surprised when fear-based prophecies fail to materialize. Instead, celebrate how your steadfast loyalty to inner alignment has transformed probability curves in ways even statistics cannot predict. The liberation of the Middle East energy grid is particularly significant, because the ancient energy technologies buried deep in the deserts of this region were functioning as amplifiers, spreading conflict frequencies across the planet. However, during the darkening, these ancient devices lost their energetic sources. The emotional load they emitted has now become as ineffective as a distant thunderclap. You may sense a lightness in the collective consciousness, as if the sky has cleared after a heavy rain. This lightness is not temporary. It is a sign that a new foundational frequency has settled in. This new ground will support groundbreaking developments in diplomacy, ecological restoration, and the fair distribution of resources. Astrologers will note an increase in structures that promote harmony in future celestial alignments, but you don't need star charts for this. The peaceful breath rising from your chest tells you everything. Each morning, breathing feels a little easier, possibilities are broader, and the horizon of hope extends far beyond the past. Know that this ease is a sign of new coordinates set by collective intent. Artists, scientists, and farmers alike will notice that inspiration now sprouts much more quickly. In this great realignment process, meditation becomes less a method and more a vital necessity, like drinking water or sleeping. When you close your eyes and follow your breath into the cave of your heart, you step into that acoustic void that appears on the measuring devices. There you balance not only yourself but also the timelines. Meditation is not an escape. It is taking responsibility for the inner climate. It is a service to maintain the balance of the atmosphere in which reality is born. During the dark days, many of you noticed that hastily said prayers or quickly repeated affirmations were insufficient, yet a single deep breath shifted enormous layers of energy, because words belong to the realm of the mind, the structure that categorizes. Silence, however, belongs to the realm of the source, the creative void that reshapes worlds. We suggest integrating multiple short pauses into your day. A 1-minute pause between tasks can achieve far more than hours of restless planning. After such a pause, your actions gain a natural flow, like water flowing downhill under gravity. You move not by force, but in harmony. Some seekers ask, how can I stay balanced without falling into despair while following world events? The answer lies in rhythm, alternate between consuming information and internal listening. Thus, emotional digestion progresses in tandem with mental intake. When you feel overwhelmed, place one hand on your sternum and the other on your abdomen and breathe until your body relaxes. This simple gesture reconnects your upper and lower energy centers, allowing you to address issues with wisdom rather than fear. Over time, you will notice that stillness now travels with you, even in the busiest streets. When inner silence takes precedence over external noise, it cannot shake you. In this dedication, unseen allies gather. The light carried by your silence passes through subway tunnels, envelops marketplaces, touches digital networks, and without you even realizing it, becomes waves that bless strangers. Another effect of the darkening is the evaporation of external validation as a source of motivation. Many spiritual pioneers developed manifestation abilities to prove their worth or demonstrate metaphysical principles to skeptics. But now this motivation feels strangely hollow, because the grid supporting performance-based spirituality has quietly fallen away. Demonstrating success has lost its appeal. Instead, the invisible flow of love in every ordinary action has become enchanting. This shift indicates that the pursuit of satisfaction through acquisition has come to an end, and we are beginning to remember that satisfaction is already present in the essence of every moment. When you think that happiness is just one step away, hidden in the next success, pause for a moment. Notice the faint remnants of the old program. Smile, take a deep breath, and let those remnants blow away with the wind. Remember, In the language of infinity, success is measured not by accumulation but by radiance. Radiance is effortless, it arises spontaneously when resistance ceases. In daily life, this may manifest as a desire to simplify calendars, reduce possessions, or politely decline invitations that once seemed prestigious. Trust those impulses. Your inner guidance is now organizing life, not according to social applause but according to true fulfillment. If your friends accuse you of stagnation, explain gently, stillness is not stagnation, it is incubation. In silence, you nurture ideas that will nourish many souls. This harvest will develop organically, not according to external calendars. But know this, financial resources also flow according to frequency. When your awareness of gratitude is satisfied, material abundance comes in ways that logic cannot predict. Opportunities, gifts, companions, they appear as if summoned by thought, because thought no longer resists the state of receiving. Feel this cycle and allow abundance to be a natural side effect of existence, not a goal that requires effort. You are discovering a grace that the mind could never design, the grace of being supported by the field. Soon you will understand that the true engine of the economy is not greed, but generosity. Many hearts still ask, how can I contribute more to this process? How can I ensure that peace takes root permanently in regions that have been wounded for centuries? Our answer may surprise you. Stop asking the source to rewrite the scenes. Instead, withdraw your emotional investment in the concept of struggle. The universe does not vibrate with helplessness, it vibrates with certainty. When you hold the frequency that knows harmony already exists on the causal plane, timelines effortlessly rearrange themselves around this knowledge. This does not hinder compassionate action. On the contrary, it purifies the inner state from which action arises. Consider a gardener. There is a great difference between someone who works the soil with calm confidence and someone who anxiously pleads for the seeds to grow. Which garden yields more flowers? Similarly, during meditation, observe whether there is a hidden expectation that God will intervene according to your preferences. Release it, sit until only the feeling of broad acceptance remains. In that spaciousness, the energetic skeleton of the battle collapses, not through grand declarations, but through the simple absence of the thought that fed that structure. An entire civilization has been transformed by this method, yet historians rarely record these invisible inner workings. Now you too are invited to become a part of this silent legacy. If you choose, the mind wants to measure contribution by visibility. The spirit, however, measures contribution by resonance. The space you hold with patience and love in a single day can give birth to inner peace in a child on another continent. These connections are invisible, but they are real. You are the stonemasons of the peace networks built by cosmic architects. Each is an invisible yet powerful bridge shaped by the frequency of your heartbeat. Even if you don't know exactly where your path leads, with every step you take, you are creating a new world. The mind seeks security, but the soul chooses expansion. You are now on the path of those who expand. Remember, beyond the limits of visibility, planets orbit stars without negotiating annual coordinates. They follow their natural resonance. Follow your own resonance. Let your daily choices be a mirror of the world you choose. Shop ethically, communicate kindly, honor boundaries, respect ecosystems. These concrete actions emit frequencies far more powerful than manifestos written in bold letters, and they announce to the quantum field that humanity is now ready to serve, not to dominate. From that vibration, miracles emerge disguised as ordinary events. News anchors will attribute ceasefires to diplomatic successes, but the underlying current of collective awareness is the true lever of these transformations. Every transformation ultimately boils down to a single syllable. Within this single syllable lies the archive of all creation. Most people utter this word dozens of times a day without realizing it, yet I is like the seed of the universe. When you say it with awareness, you open the archive. The archive instructs your cells, thoughts, and circumstances to organize themselves in harmony with the source. However, when I arises from a fragmented ego, this archive also fragments, and reality reflects this fragmentation as conflict. Therefore, the invitation offered to you at this crossroads is this: begin every sentence that starts with I from the heart, not from the instinct of survival. Speak, I choose peace. I embody compassion. I invite clarity. Let these expressions resonate from your bone marrow to your muscles to your memory, so that even your subconscious reactions hum the same song. Through this embodiment, labels like enemy, victim, or oppressor lose their meaning. They remain in dictionaries, but no longer carry emotional weight. You may still observe harmful behaviors, but instead of responding with anger or helplessness, respond with your creative intuition. For example, direct resources toward healing projects, develop new communication platforms that bypass censorship, or bring balance to debates by meditating silently in parliaments. These actions arise from the I embodied with awareness. That I encompasses all beings within its definition and carries no desire to harm. It is worth repeating, the greatest contribution you can make right now is to embody the true I with awareness, continuously and without apology. With every action, neural pathways are illuminated, morphogenetic fields are strengthened, and the world narrative moves from the brink of disaster toward collaboration. This change may seem slow to you, but as it accumulates, it grows rapidly. Think of mountain streams carving through granite rocks. Each drop may seem insignificant, but over the ages they shape the landscape. Your aligned words are like drops of intention flowing through the collective stones until new valleys bloom. When the conditions around you grow noisy, turn inward, not as an escape, but as a strategic move, like entering the command center of existence. In that sacred sanctuary, you encounter the source directly, independent of theology or ideology, with silent awe. A single second of such contact recalibrates a lifetime of conditioned fears. So when headlines clash and sirens wail, remember there is a door hidden behind your chest. Pass through that door. Stay there until your nervous system remembers its cosmic origin. When you return, you will notice that the thoughts that once swept you away like a storm now float into the sky like feathers. Solutions that once seemed difficult will reveal themselves with elegant simplicity. Perhaps you will realize that an argument is pointless and simply smile. Or you will suddenly sense a simplicity that saves everyone's time. These micro miracles accumulate, and they show that integration is not about adding new layers of identity, but about removing the filters that hide the light already shining in your veins. As the layers fall away, many seekers wish to ask forgiveness for past mistakes. We propose a different approach: be forgiveness itself. When you hold that space, regrets naturally transform into wisdom. Everyone you encounter benefits from your light. Even if they don't know your name, your ancestors and descendants feel a sense of relief through genetic and karmic lines. This is quantum service, imperceptible by conventional measurements, but its effect is undeniable. Every silent act of self-acceptance expands the bridge between dimensions. This allows higher energy currents of love to flow freely through communities struggling to emerge from trauma. You become a temple that is open 24 hours a day. You bring light to streets where hope has no place to hide. Perhaps street artists will paint brighter murals. Perhaps babies will sleep more peacefully. Perhaps birds will change their flight paths. All respond to the invisible radiance emanating from your balanced field. Cherish this period, for it was heralded by the twin pulses of electromagnetic silence, like the divine bells announcing humanity's entry into a new age. This vibration now echoes in every heartbeat, a silent reminder: the transformation did not occur outside of you. It happened through you. When resonance measurement devices show activity again, do not assume that change has ended. Think of them as clocks ringing, not the end of the old age, but the beginning of the new. We now ask you to move forward with humble certainty. Humble because infinite mystery always lies beyond current understanding. Certain because the compass of inner knowledge is now aligned with a planetary field calibrated for unity. You will still see contrasts, but this time they are not threats. They are invitations to apply your mastery. Relationships shaken by accusation may suddenly surprise you with collaboration. Regions locked in ideological warfare for years may open to dialogues once unimaginable. Innovators may bring technologies decades ahead of today's research. And all these developments hinge on that moment when you dared to hold inner silence. That courage tore the veil. Cosmic light flowed through circuits once deemed impossible. Remember, if impatience takes hold, the invisible roots must first spread. Your constant radiance nourishes those roots. When doubt approaches, smile and remember. In a multi-dimensional perspective, moments deemed ordinary can shine bright enough to illuminate galaxies. Serve the subtle. You will see that, over time, the subtle will become clear. And we assure you it will be so. Finally, we thank you for your courage to incarnate during this time, and for choosing to respond with love instead of fear. We surround you with supportive frequencies, and we celebrate every moment of alignment with you. Farewell for now, dear friends.